Argentina just have to be like a cockroach or something because you think you get rid of them, but they just find a way every single game. This is like the fourth game in a row, I think, that they've just clutched out a last minute winner every single time in this knockout stage. Teams just let them get back in. England, I think, shot themselves in their own foot. I think Thomas Tuchel played arguably the worst tactics he could have enforced in the last like 15 minutes there. After that water break, maybe like from then on, just going from a 5-4-1, taking off Anthony Gordon, just so many dumb mistakes that I think cost him a spot in the final. It honestly looked like England were better when they were attacking the Argentine net. In the first half, they looked pretty good, in my opinion. That goal from Anthony Gordon was really good. Beginning of the second half there. Um, I think Argentina looked a bit lost in the first half. They just, for some reason, just like in all these knockout games, they just can't get something cohesive going up until like after the second water break. And we saw that again today. Now, like I'm not obviously you can see from the momentum graph that it was pretty much mostly England in the first half. Was obviously after that water break or around the water break, it kind of flipped a bit. But the second half was a lot more Argentina. They after that goal had gone in from Anthony Gordon, they realized, oh, we got to score. We're going to go home. We need to go at England. They are sitting back. We got to throw everything in the kitchen sink. I think is what the commentator said on the TV. It was like kitchen sink at them, and I think it reflected heavily in the stats. Because like in the first half, Argentina had two shots, none of them on target. England only had one, so like both teams couldn't get anything going forward. It was kind of a boring game in my opinion. In that first half, but the second half was pretty outstanding. Argentina went from having two shots and then on target to 13, five on target, which is just a it's like an insane jump. Pretty much 24 touches in the opposition box. They had three big chances that two of them they missed. I think that England just kind of after that goal, like I said, they really dropped off. Like, so you can see Anthony Gordon gets they get the goal in the 55th minute, and then they kind of just sat back. Uh, they brought on from like right before that goal, like the 85th from Fernandez, which outstanding goal there. He has been, I think, one of the players of the tournament. From he has stepped up for Argentina, but bringing on three defenders in the last when you got like 5 minutes ago, it can work, but you're against Argentina, arguably the most clutch team in this tournament right now. And to go through a 5-4-1 with just Harry Kane up top and having him get no service to even relieve the pressure is just a stupid mistake. Unfortunately, Reece James did go off, which I think he was one of the few that was able to do stuff going forward. I think the decision to stop going forward also hampered on Jed Spence, who I thought was playing outstanding that game. And when they allowed so much more pressure to be built onto him, he just couldn't take it. I think he was just getting overwhelmed by Messi, Simeone, uh, whoever came on the right wing. I can't remember for Simeone. I think it was DePaul when he came on. Just he was just getting overwhelmed on that side, and with Anthony Gordon, who came off, who was a pretty good presser for Ezri Konsa, another defender. It just they couldn't do much there because you're giving so much space to Messi, to Fernandez, to Julian Alvarez, McAllister, just players who want to be on the ball and facilitate it. And if you're not pressing with pretty much nine people in front of the goal, in front of the person with the ball, like what are we doing, England? I think it's just a weird. I don't know what Thomas Tuchel was thinking because they had such a good thing going for them. Pretty much most of that first, uh, pretty much most of the first half and a fair bout of that second half, beginning of it. So resilient, so forward thinking, and it's just I think I don't know. I just don't know how you can just fumble like that with what you were doing. Now, it's not to say that England were terrible. I think for the first goal, even though there's Endo Fernandez had an amazing shot, I think if Pickford was a bit taller, had maybe a few extra inches on his arms, he might have maybe saved that, got a touch to it or whatnot. But that second goal should never have been allowed. I think giving Lautaro Martinez that much space outside the box on a corner to just get a free shot, it just wasn't closed down enough. It's schoolboy defending. Like you always got to mark the person on the outside of the box. You can't just cram the box like people do in England for the Premier League, just crowd in the box maybe to get something out of it. You see so many teams score goals like this where you got so many people in the box, you just leave them on the outside of the box to just get a shot at the goal. And a fair amount of times it goes in, which happened here. There is a bit of a caveat uh, in the last game that Argentina played. Lautaro Martinez, who was on a yellow, left the field of play, and that should by the rules been given a second yellow. He wasn't given a second yellow, so there is a conversation to be said that he shouldn't be on the pitch for that winner. But I think at the end of the day, I think Argentina was just ramping up the pressure so much that even if it wasn't Lautaro Martinez that scored the winner, I think either in extra time or in within like the last few moments of that injury time, they should have probably found a winner. I think after that Fernandez goal, they were just so lost on the English side that they just didn't know what to do. Bellingham was pretty much a ghost. Harry Kane was pretty much a ghost. Morgan Rogers and Anthony Gordon were pretty much the only two doing anything on the attack, in my opinion. Declan Rice was okay. I think he was still recovering from, I think he was sick before that last game. Elliot Anderson was pretty much overrun on that left-hand side. Mark Gahey was pretty good at during the game. Obviously, ratings-wise, he's going to get lower because he got 2 goals scored on him. But I think he made a few vital interceptions and headers to clear the ball. Same thing with John Stones. I think I think they brought on Dan Burn too late. I feel like that was Thomas Tuchel's entire game plan. Going back to his game plan was just to bring Dan Burn on within like the last 15 minutes and just him be a brick wall. But when you got such a technical team in Argentina, I don't think it's going to work. In my opinion, he is a great defender, but I think when you just got such a skilled team who are really tricky to catch and just tackle, it's not going to work out. And we saw that again. This sets up, I think, arguably probably the more even, I think, of finals, in my opinion, that we could have had. I think if it was Spain versus England, I think Spain would have ran all over England with the way they play. I think they just look so uninspiring throughout this entire tournament. I think Argentina versus Spain will be good, as I think Spain are probably the best team in the world right now. We saw it against France. They dominated them in a way that nobody expected. Against Argentina, a team who has left it late in the last 4 games now in the knockouts. All the knockout games, they've left it so late that eventually they're going to get caught out by a team who is as resilient as Spain is. Spain have only let 1 goal in this entire tournament, 6 clean sheets, a new record for Unai Simon has made. I think if Spain doesn't get the first goal, I think it could be a bit tricky for Spain. But if Spain get that first goal, they'll defend with their hearts out, pass it really well, press really well. It'll make it hard for Argentina to be on the ball because both teams want to be on the ball. They're really possession based. So it's a really good final. I'm looking forward to it this weekend. For the third place match, France versus England, I think France will probably obliterate England. Both teams are going to be a bit dejected, but I think France will pull themselves up more than England because England played so lackluster in this game. I think just the fan base will probably dogpile on the English fans more, or English players more than the French players will be dogged on. Either way, I'll be watching both matches this weekend. Hopefully, the third place match is a bit entertaining, but I'm looking forward to that final because that looks pretty tasty.